After a week of looking for my car keys, I finally found them. Yes. Unfortunately, while I was searching, college baseball kept rolling along. It is nice to be back in my old podcasting chair, but boy, there is a busy and scary weekend to come for many of the country's top teams. Fortunately for you, we're going to break it all down, make it a little less scary for you, if not for the teams at home, on this episode of College Baseball Now.
Yeah, ain't no problems, there won't problem with me, no. Yeah.
Let me talk to the chat. They know I was gone for a minute, had to BRB. Had to grab a couple wins with I DID. They sleeping on the kid, I had to do it BIG. I can never be average, and they want a problem with the boy, they don't want no static. I don't need your cosign running with God. Wanna test that, tell them what's happening. Took control, run the game. Best believe I'm shining dog. Counting up my wins, yeah, I love it when they count me out. Off the leash, of the chain, boy, I've been a dog. Best believe I run the game, you know I'm in control of y'all. It's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Beat them up, knock them out. They really don't want no static.
I'm back in the saddle again. Do you guys know that song?
What on earth?
Aerosmith. Welcome back to College Baseball Now. We're happy to be back with you. It is Wednesday, March 18th as we record this, and you are joining your friends for another episode of your favorite college baseball podcast. Starting, of course, with me, your friend, your host, your boy, Drew Wheeler, Director of Amateur Scouting at Prospects Live. Glad to be with my friends tonight, and hopefully yours as well, because we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Starting with the gentleman who is always on my right on your screen, your friend and mine, last week's host. Got to give him a brief round of applause. Thank you. Mr. Josh Catlett. Hello, Josh.
How's it going? I'm very happy to be back in this spot instead of in the hosting chair. It is not as easy as it looks, but it's okay. I think we did fine.
You all did wonderfully. Thank you again. What do you think was the trickiest thing?
Delegating like questions to people instead of just, I don't know, just answering whatever you asked me. Although I will say it was nice, like, to be able to, in between questions, just be able to talk and just like yap, and then I transition however much I want to. That was kind of cool. That's what I do best.
You are good with the yap. You're good with that. So I knew you'd do great. Josh, for the folks at home, I need you to give me, and I'm not talking like your top 5, not a top 10. Give me a random movie that people need to watch at home. Just a good movie. Just a good movie.
The best movie I've watched recently was probably Whiplash. If you've ever seen that, I watched it for the first time like 3-4 weeks ago. Really good, better than I expected. My roommates have been in love with The Secret Life of Walter Mitty recently. I don't know why. Right. I watched it and I thought it was like super weird, but I don't know. It's if you're into that kind of stuff, I guess. But like, no, Whiplash was really good. Like a solid 9 out of 10.
Love it. Josh, who's your pick in the March Madness bracket, pal?
I have Michigan going all the way. I don't know. I felt that way the whole year, and I can't pick Duke. So by default.
I wonder why. Why?
I don't know. Just a hunch. I don't know. Maybe a certain. Well, we'll figure out the Duke thing later on. We'll figure that out on a different episode.
Yeah, I guess so. Joining us in the bottom right-hand corner today, it's Coach Jake Bargery. Jake, hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Drew. Glad to have you back. I'm still kind of thawing out a little bit from when I was spent a lot of time outside earlier in the freezing cold, but we are here and I'm ready to go.
You've had a pretty action-packed day, and I'd love it if you can brag on your boys really quick, Coach.
Yeah. My Arcadia Knights. We had a home doubleheader today. Got the sweep. Gave up a few more runs than I think we would have wanted to, but we got the wins, and that's all that matters.
Big Knights. We're big Knights boys here. Every one of us. Big Knights guys at the site. Anybody that's not, you're fired. Jake, Who have you got in your bracket? Who's your champion?
Tennessee, of course. I mean, who else am I going to pick other than the Vols?
Of course. I figured as much. Good random movie. Tell the folks at home, well, go watch this movie because Jake said so.
So I think we've had this discussion before. I'm not the biggest movie guy, but I do have a favorite. It's the Pursuit of Happiness is what it's called. A Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how old it actually is. It came out a little while ago, but that's a personal favorite of mine. If you haven't seen it, it's a nice feel good movie if you're in the mood for that.
Oh yeah. I shed a tear every time I see it. It's a deep movie. Love that movie. And joining us today, our special guest host for the evening is Mr. Joshua Salguero. Josh, thank you so much for taking time to join us.
No problem. Hope just don't cause too much confusion with the two Joshes, but we'll get going.
Yes. We should probably address that now. I think before we started recording, we've agreed to, for the sake of the folks at home who are used to me referring to this gentleman over here as Josh, he will be Josh, and for the evening, our guest will be Mr. Salguero, if that's admissible to you, sir.
Sounds very fancy. Totally fine with that.
Well, very good. All right. Mr. Salguero, I'm curious, have you filled out a bracket? And if so, who's your champion?
Wish I could say I was a huge college basketball guy. Not too well-versed, and based off the vibes, I feel like I can't say Duke, so I'll stick with hometown UCLA.
Yeah, okay. Based on the vibes, like we have any UNC fans here. I can't see any. So Josh, I got to tell you, or excuse me, Mr. Salguero, forgive me. I'm going to get this right. I have to tell you, I'm actually not the biggest college basketball fan as well, but the newspaper, we are running a March Madness contest for the first time in years. People are going to submit the whole bracket to me, and then I've got to manually score all of these Goliaths, and it's going to be a good time, though. It's always something I enjoy, and honestly, getting to write about sports for my day job is something that I take advantage of whenever I can. Mr. Salguero, last question. Recommend for the folks at home a movie. Just good movie.
Don't want to get too basic. Really obsessed with Good Will Hunting.
Sure.
Kind of like, I'll say it's my number 2 movie, but been very into it like in the past month or two. Rewatched it like a couple times, so always going to be like my go-to.
So you've rewatched your number 2 movie several times. What could possibly be your number 1 then if you've rewatched?
Number 1's maybe a bit too on the emotional side, but Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. The Jim Carrey movie, so that one's less of a rewatch, especially compared to Good Will Hunting. So,
I think I've watched Eternal Sunshine maybe 3 times in my life. I might could stand it one more time before I die. It's just so sad.
It's very good though.
It's very well made. The reason I asked you guys about movies, and not to keep talking about movies, hell, we're 8 minutes into the podcast and we haven't yet talked about a college baseball game. I watched Coach Carter randomly last night at like 3 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. It's a great movie. Like, Coach Carter's an awesome movie.
Like, I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but yeah, it's one of the better. It might be, unless I'm forgetting something, my favorite basketball movie. Maybe I could be forgetting something.
It's up there. It's free on YouTube right now, though, Josh. So highly recommend you pop that boy on as you're hitting the hay tonight. Just a great movie.
I'm trying to watch Breaking Bad for the first time right now, so if I'm gonna watch anything as I'm falling asleep, it's probably gonna be that.
What do you think of Breaking Bad? We have to go. Speaking of Breaking Bad, are you enjoying the show?
I am, yeah. How are you going to transition Breaking Bad into I'm curious. Carry on.
Josh,
I believe in you. I'm just wondering.
Listen, you're watching Breaking Bad, and so from one Breaking Bad to another, because this Georgia Tech offense that we had so much faith in has broken, and it was bad against your Tigers of Auburn. And Josh, I know that you had the privilege of being at the stadium, frozen and all, to watch this game. I'm curious if you could walk us through kind of the high points of the game before we break it down a little further and maybe the implications of it.
Well, the high points of the game were everything Auburn related after the first inning. I mean, in the second inning when Logan Gregorio and Chris Rembert hit both their home runs, just the floodgates opened, and they poured it on from there. I was hoping for a close game. It's a top 5 matchup after all, with the presumed better team being the road team, and it just didn't matter. Andres Alvarez looked better than he probably has all year. His breaking stuff was landing for strikes way more than usual. great pitchability, didn't allow a lot of hits. I think Jaron Adventula had the team's only hits yesterday. I think no one else recorded a hit for the team. So it was just phenomenal outing by Alvarez. Christian Chatterton came in for 2 afterwards, pitched really well. LJ Cormier, he had, I think, the 8th inning, 8 pitches, 8 strikes, 3 outs. It was something like that. It was very close to that. I remember in the stadium we were all like, let's go, it's freezing, let's get us out of here. So that was nice to see. But yeah, I mean, like the Auburn offense, especially led by the stars of it, Chris Rembert, Chase Frelick, Bub Terrell, had a combined 7 or 8 hits yesterday. Just looked really nice all the way around. But yeah, great to see out of this program, especially with Texas coming to town this weekend. It's really, really comforting to see.
It has to be. I think that's a good transition, and we'll go to Mr. Salguero for that one. Josh, you get a chance to write, Mr. Salguero. You get a chance to write a lot about teams. You've gotten to write about the ACC a good bit. With this Georgia Tech offense, though, even beyond your role on the daily sheet, as a college baseball fan, the Georgia Tech offense is one that's impossible to miss, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm still trying to buy into that offense. I believe everyone in that starting lineup has like an OPS over 800, 850, something like that. But a lot of their competition, like early on in the year, has been against like weak pitching mid-major teams. Like even the Power 4 competitions, kind of. I don't know. I'm still trying to buy into it. I know Burst has had a slow start. I'm still trying to fall into like that Von Lackey top 10 hype, which I believe he's still a first-round talent, but I don't know if he's quite at that like super high level just yet. One person that has like caught me off guard, Carson Kersey. There's been like a little bit like of an uptick of power. It's still nothing like too impressive, but it's like high average, very well like on the contact part. So like that's a great like bottom of the 9 order. And I believe he was the only guy to not strike out against Auburn too. But like still trying to buy into it. Yesterday, of course, not a good showing, but over the weekend there were still that glimpse. So it's still more of a like wait and see for me.
Okay, I think there's got to be something with brains for people named Josh and not buying the Georgia Tech offense that has done nothing in my mind but prove it. But you guys make a good point because, I mean, now we see that whenever they meet opposition, they're not busting through it. That's definitely cause for concern. Jake, going to go to you here. Josh really set it up well because Auburn excelled, and I think that's kind of the bottom tier of the word we could say, excelled against Georgia Tech. But now I think it's an undisputed tougher test coming to town in Texas, right?
I mean, you would say that, but Texas also took a not so great loss in their midweek. But yeah, it is definitely I mean, I guess undisputed. I don't know if you say that with that much conviction right now. Really,
it's an interesting comparison.
Auburn impressed. Yeah,
it's an interesting comparison to say Texas and Georgia Tech. We trust these offenses. We trust these guys, and I mean, certainly saying, Jake, you bring up an interesting point. Who would you rather have a loss to on your record, Tarleton State or Auburn?
Well, certainly a loss on your record, certainly to Auburn, but yeah, that is a good point. The Texas.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Though we're going to see them obviously down the stretch battle it out with a bunch of common opponents. I'm not sure if well, hold on, never mind. Yeah, we're going to see them battle against common opponents, and it's going to be those two are going to be at the top in the end for sure.
Jake, going forward, what do you think you want to see out of Auburn, if anything, before you're willing to say this is a team, a top 5 team in the nation?
Top 5. I mean, I don't know. I think they're pretty close to that already. To be honest, like the pitching has really been better than what at least what Josh kind of hyped them up to be in the preseason. Yeah. But kind of what we all thought that was going to be like a question mark, and that's really proved to be a major strength of this team. And like with Rembert coming back, kind of shoring up this lineup a little bit. Like I mean, I don't know. There are some teams that I do like a little bit better still, but like I don't think you get too many arguments if you said that they were a top 5 team.
I'm about to say, I feel like,
Yeah.
I'm biased, but I feel like we're already there. I mean, like, and most rankings will back you up. I know ours have them at like 7, but every other mainstream ranking has them 5, 6, or higher. So I feel like we're already there at that point.
So, Josh, you jumped in, and that is kind of where we were going with this. Is, I mean, from Jake, who I think is going to give us a relatively unbiased answer to you. Who we know you are biased, and that's okay. Not anything wrong with that. What do you identify as being like? What could Auburn do to say no? We are top 5 without question marks, without guessing. We're a top 5 team in the country, if anything.
I can't point to anything in particular that's been negative this year because, like, the top of the lineups performed super well. The middle of the lineup with the McCrane brothers stepping in and Guevara is typically in that range. They've performed way beyond expectations. The bottom is kind of a rotating door a little bit. I didn't even mention Bristol Carter at the top of the lineup hitting near 500. Like, it's been a rotating door at the bottom, but typically it's good pieces that fill in there. The starting rotation has been leaps and bounds better than we could have ever imagined. And the bullpen's been pretty reliable too. Now, granted, Drew Whalen out for a bit of time at least, so that's going to hurt a little bit. But there's been enough bullpen arms that have come in and, shown that they can do its ass of them. So I really don't even know where the negative would be. Like, I guess, like, keeping it up. Like, that's all
Keeping
I got.
it up?
Yeah. Like,
and then if that's what we're going to punish Auburn for, I mean, who are we not going to punish?
Yeah.
That's a great point, Josh. You didn't seem too biased at all during that. I'm proud of you.
Am I wrong? Like,
You're not wrong. I was giving you a compliment. I was complimenting you. That's my Seinfeld impression. Thank you all at home. All right, let's move on because these guys have really done a good job of kind of paving the brick road to our next topic. Texas, surely they won in the midweek, right? What's that? Oh, Mr. Salguero. Texas, who we said in a couple episodes ago, kind of universally top tier, even beyond kind of that tier we just labeled Auburn, the top 5. I think Texas is one of those ones that you could say, are they better? Is UCLA better? This is the top 2. A loss to Tarleton State, though. What happened here?
I wouldn't put it as a hamper on them too much. Like, personally, I'd still have them number 2 right behind UCLA. Because, like, looking at Tarleton, like, in the most recent series, weekend series they played at New Mexico, they kind of took that series and, like, looked good doing it with the offense. Pitching did enough to keep them at bay, and playing in, like, any kind of Mountain West stadium, like on the road, that's always going to be like a heavy offensive series. So to go out and do that, and like earlier series, I believe it was, Arkansas, they kind of held their own against them. They didn't come away with the win, but like they looked good both on the pitching, like on the pitching side, and kind of like with those same guys, they showed up in the Texas series. I know I did point out one guy on the daily sheet coming up. Let me get his name real quick. I believe it was like Pinto. But they had Pinto, they had Jaquez, each like showed up 3 scoreless innings. It could just be like a different, like the pitching that they're kind of used to, facing like SEC squads, Power 4 squads. So like kind of facing like going from that to like more junk ballers, it's always going to be a bit tricky. And like they even showed with like the pitching side of Tarleton, they walked 9 guys. They did strike out 12, but like effectively wild is kind of how you put it. And while like they couldn't get hit, they were getting on base. It was just untimely hitting. So I just see it as like midweek bumps. I'm not too worried about it. Don't blame them at all.
Nothing too concerning for you then. That's interesting. And I'm glad you picked up on that because I know for those of you at home that haven't read the College Daily Sheet yet, Mr. Salguero regularly writes up our mid-majors. I know that between he and Jake, we're going to be able to talk all the mid-major squads until the cows come home. Jake, that is a good transition to go to you here. With Tarleton State, I think Mr. Salguero really drove the nail in as far as we need to go with them. In your mind, Jake, what does this mean for Texas to have taken this loss? I think I would resonate with what Joshua said in that I think this is not a nail through the heart. I mean, shoot, we gave LSU a ton of leeway before we dropped them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think this is too concerning about losing to Tarleton State because like Mr. Salguero mentioned, like they competed with Arkansas. Tarleton State did competed with Arkansas earlier in the year. They They played some pretty good teams. They played Creighton, Texas State, both not too bad teams. They have a win against Baylor, and he just mentioned they swept a New Mexico team that I think at that point maybe like either game or they were like 12-0 or something crazy. Like they were one of the last like undefeated teams New Mexico was. So like that, those are not like Tarleton State as a whole isn't like a mid-major team that you think is like a household name that's like one of the best in the country, but they've definitely held their own against solid competition. And for Texas, like I don't, like I said, I don't think it's too much of a concern. Like, I mean, they won 18 games in a row before they lost a extra inning game to Ole Miss. Like, yeah, I mean, at some point they are going to lose games as good of a team as they are. And I think, there's a lot they can take from this Tarleton State loss, and I think they have some stuff to build on. But yeah, props to Tarleton State holding this Texas lineup down to only 2 hits in the game, though.
Absolutely. Josh, we'll go to you and Jake again. Beautiful transition. You knew where I was going. I have a feeling here. Josh, are there any of the Texas hitters that you can look at and say, I'm a little concerned, I guess, with how this guy's played? I don't think I can name one. I think this, again, to kind of steal Mr. Salguero's line, just a bump in the road, just a midweek bump, nothing serious.
I mean, the only guy in this Texas lineup that has below a 900 OPS is Adrian Rodriguez, which is probably considered to be their best prospect between, this year and next year. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say I'm really concerned about him long term. He went 0 for 2 yesterday, but drew a couple walks. I'm not really concerned about any of that, like in the grand scheme of things. Yesterday, there were more specific performances that were issues, like Ethan Mendoza went 0 for 5. Guys like Carson Tenney had 3 strikeouts, went 0 for 3. I mean, that's really not anything that I'm concerned about long term. But yesterday, I mean, that was a big issue for yesterday in particular. Aiden Robbins has been their best guy the entire year, probably, but he just had an off day yesterday. It happens.
It happens. I think that's exactly right. These kinds of things happen. It's not going to be something that we see on a regular basis. I don't want to get into it because I know we're going to chop it up, Josh, but let's play Worry-A-Meter with you specifically. How worried are you for Auburn this weekend? 1 being, I ain't worried. There's this trash team coming in. 10 being, I have no fingernails. They've all been chewed off.
Worried that we're going to lose the series, or...
Yeah, where'd you get embarrassed?
5. I don't know. It's weird to say that you're worried because, even if they do come in and sweep Auburn, it's the number 2 team in the country. You can stomach that, I guess. It's weird to judge. It's weird to gauge that, I guess. I don't know.
Definitely. I don't think. I mean, and I'm just going to use the kind of the realistic thing that we just saw recently. I mean, Mississippi State loses a series to Arkansas. They don't fall. I mean, they're still in the top 10, I think, for us, for sure. For me, I know for us as well, now that I think about it. I think that's probably a safe thing to say. I mean, Auburn's not going to fall tremendously. You'd lose to Texas. But we are getting the cart before the horse, and we're not going to do that here. We've got one more matchup midweek to talk about. Oklahoma. Mr. Bargery. Oklahoma took on Southeastern Louisiana, and, brother, that had to have gone the way we thought it would coming in, surely.
Yeah, not quite. I don't think most of us would have predicted CeeLaw to shut out Oklahoma after they got that big series win against A&M last weekend. But again, I like to defend my mid-major teams. CeeLaw is not a bad program. I think they're a little bit down this year from last year, maybe the year before, but they are a good program. And obviously, what really impressed, they shut them out. Their pitching, they had only 6 strikeouts on the game, but 4 hits, no runs. They played good defense. They pitched seemingly to their strengths, and it was kind of weird after watching Oklahoma really slug the ball against A&M, and to come into this midweek and kind of instantly get kind of shut down by this pitching staff. But all the props to CeeLaw for getting this win.
Absolutely, Mr. Salguero, just based on the transitive property. I mean, and who can argue with that? CeeLaw better than Oklahoma, better than A&M. I'll let you think on that. I'll let you think on that when we're off there. But have you written about Southeastern Louisiana much? And was this a surprising outcome? If not,
I don't believe I've covered them at all this year so far. They haven't been a bad team, but I just haven't seen like any outlier performances. It's more been like collective. But I didn't see it as a surprise. Even the guy who kind of stood out to me today, Nick Toops, against Southern Miss early in the year, had like another kind of similar performance. I believe it was like 3 shutout innings, like good amount of strikeouts on hand, and it's kind of what he replicated against like Oklahoma. So not necessarily comparing the two offenses, but like two good offenses probably better than Louisiana's. So
that's fair.
Nothing like too much of a surprise, but like Oklahoma's strikeouts kind of a little concerning. But again, midweek madness, you kind of expect those bumps.
Expecting the bumps. Josh, I did see your ears perk up when your favorite team, Southern Miss, was mentioned, so I'll go to you here now. Oklahoma. We have, I think, between you, Jake, and myself, JB as well. Shout out to JB, by the way. What up, dog? I think we've all kind of talked about the fact that Oklahoma has been a pleasant surprise for us. We certainly did not expect this kind of performance out of them. Does this damage them too tremendously, a loss to CELA, or is this kind of, again, like Georgia Tech, like Texas, just maybe to a lesser degree?
Not really. I think it's just midweek madness, kind of like Salguero just said. It happens. I mean, I don't really want to dock anybody for one performance in a midweek. And CELA's not a bad team, like truly, especially like Oklahoma going on the road. And, they got a big series against LSU coming up this weekend. They got to go to. So, I mean, you can kind of just get everything gets lost in translation when trying to prepare for it. Yeah. I mean, you can't really make excuses for the bats being as poor as they were against, mid-major, midweek pitching. But I really don't like to draw any big conclusions after they just had a big series win over A&M last week. Could go on the road, do the same against LSU this week. That would be where more of my takeaways would come from.
Yeah. If college baseball Twitter is to be believed, it is not. Then, I mean, the only time the only time midweek games matter is if your team wins. So
exactly.
Remember that at home. Don't remember that at home. Anyway, guys, let's talk about Pick'em, because we have got if I may be so bold, a hellacious slate to look over here. Mr. Salguero, you are going to be joining one Mr. Will Dodge in our guest tier of the pickers. But before we get to that, Mr. Catlett, I wish that you would please recap us on last week's picks. How did it go?
Last week you won the week. You went 6-2.
Really?
Jake went 5-3, getting over 500. Dodge and I were both 4-4, and JB below 500 went 3-5. You'll love to see it. Overall on the year, we got like a two win gap between all of us. You're 24-15, 2 games behind you with 22 wins is me, 2 games behind me with 20 wins is JB, and then 2 games behind him with 18 wins, being 18-21, is Jake. And then I guess the guest region of it is 4-4.
Dodge currently in the leaderboard because he is the only man on the leaderboard at this point.
Correct.
Mr. Salguero will look to ascend past him. It will take a 5-3 mark, though, Mr. Salguero. That's a steady week in these waters.
Not to sound too egotistical, but I feel like I got it, even when it comes to guessing stuff.
That's what they all say.
Usually I'm good at it. So.
Oh, my gosh.
We'll see at the end. But
Will Dodge at home shivering somewhere, holding tightly to his spot at number 1. Well, shall we go ahead and break it down, guys? Because we have buttered the bread. We have frosted the cake. All it takes now is the candles going in, the lights going out, and we're singing happy birthday before this thing really blows up. Texas and Auburn. We have really, really set the stage for this. Josh, we are going to go to you to walk us through this game. What do you think is going to be the deciding X factor for either squad in this humongous SEC weekend series?
If I had to pick one thing, I would say it's probably kind of like I hinted at earlier with Texas and a little bit with Auburn. I think the bottom of the lineups executing is probably the best thing, because there's clear star power at the top of both of these lineups with recognizable names across the board, but it does kind of bottom out a little quickly. Guys have been picking it up at the bottom of that Texas lineup all year. Like Casey Borba has an 1147 OPS this year with 6 home runs. Like Timo Becerra, has a 324 average with a 1047 OPS, 5 home runs. Those guys need to keep up that kind of stuff, along with guys like Tenney and Aiden Robbins and A-Rod, who hasn't been as great this year, but really being able to work through or giving the pitcher an ability to not, have an easy part of the lineup to work through, have to work through an entire 1 through 9 and it be difficult. It's probably going to be the biggest thing for me because I don't really have tons of questions about any of the 6 starting pitchers we're going to see in this matchup. They've all proven themselves this year to this point. So I think what the lineup can do is going to be the most important part.
I think so. I mean, hey, it's going to be interesting. I think you did kind of lay that out very well earlier, and to kind of come back to it, I think it hammers home what an important thing it is to keep in mind as these 3 games are going on. Jake, going to go to you. I want to know specifically, as it comes to Texas, who needs to stand out and lead the Longhorns to a victory, a series victory on the road?
So if I'm looking at one part of this team, like Josh talked about their lineup just now, I think it is kind of the pitching to kind of just keep the momentum that they've kind of built on all year. I mean, we've talked about this Texas pitching staff pretty recently, but like Luke Harrison was, very good last weekend. Ruger Riojas was decent, had strikeouts, gave up 3 runs in 4 innings. Dylan Valanis was excellent once again. All 3 have a sub 2.2 ERA on the year, and they've all struck out more than twice as many as they've walked. And the bullpen was also really good outside of a couple innings last weekend. The team's pitching to a sub 3 ERA, somewhere in that range. The pitching is good. It's proven itself at the start of the year, and I think if there's one thing that needs to kind of keep the momentum going, I want to say it's just the pitching staff as a whole with this Auburn offense who's kind of caught fire here recently.
Without a doubt. I think that it is going to be a battle of almost 2 pitching staffs that have been hyper compelling, and the Texas offense this week. Not the week to kind of have a road bump. Either way, Mr. Salguero, going to give you the opposite question. In your opinion, which player, or I guess like Jake did, you could say a group of players, I guess, if you wanted to, which player or group needs to step up and lead the Tigers to defend the turf and stave off the Longhorns?
I'll go with the group part and kind of piggybacking off of what Jake said. I would stick with the bullpen. The bullpen's been pretty much elite the entire season so far. So both pitching staff is both offense, both on fire for both teams, ignoring the Tyler Tank game aside. But they've both been elite. So it to me, it comes down to once you get past the starters, both bullpens have been good. Auburn's been on the slightly better side, but it's going to be who handles that pressure kind of the most, because to me it's the number 2 and number 3 teams going at it. So there's going to be a bit of that pressure. Bullpen's kind of where it all focused the late innings. So to me, it's going to be Auburn's bullpen. Pretty much put it like that. Yeah.
Mr. Salguero, you used the magic word I was going to use first. The word I have defined in my head for this series is pressure. Who can stand up to the pressure? Josh, I do want to ask you one last thing before we make our picks. Can you think of a non-tournament, non-event setting in which a team has had to face back-to-back tougher opponents than Auburn will this week?
I've actually thought about this a lot, and I don't know. There have been so many talks around campus. The other day was the first top 5 matchup in the history of Plainsman Park, and now we have 3 more coming in this weekend. So, I mean, I feel like that's a relatively common thing around the country. I don't think no, the Southern Miss week did not line up with the Arkansas series for them. So for Mississippi State. So I
was trying to think of whether it was UCLA Southern Miss. Yeah. I mean, that's the closest thing, I guess, and that was a tournament setting. So Mississippi State only played UCLA once. This is as tough of a week as it gets in college baseball, point blank period. That was my thought. I can't think of a tougher week for any single squad thus far this year. And now there may be some to come, but without knowing all the schedules. Either way, let's go ahead and make picks. Josh, this may be the easiest one you make in your lifetime. And since you are the keeper of the picks, or rather, since he did it for you, I'll let you go through JB's picks as well. So give us your pick and then give us JB's pick.
JB is going to be a traitor. He went with Texas. I don't know why. Probably just to spite me. I don't know. Better team. That's probably not it. It probably has something to do with me. I can't not take us in the spot after being in that ballpark yesterday, seeing these fans last week and this week yesterday, like the way that ballpark gets rocking when a team comes to town like this and the way this team's been playing. So I can't not pick against them.
Oh, well, one Auburn, one Texas as we go to you, Coach. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. These are both super well-rounded teams. I kind of went into this like planning on this being like a game time decision for me. This is definitely a series that whoever comes out on top is likely to be considered, the best team in the SEC right now. Like, I don't know. I think I am gonna go Texas. No disrespect to Auburn there. I'm just not ready to pick against Texas yet. Could be proved wrong. I don't know. I'm going Texas.
Love it. Mr. Salguero, 2 Texases on the board and an Auburn. I'm curious, are you going to heap on or are you going to even the score?
Got to stick with fellow Josh. I'm going to go with Auburn right over here.
Come on.
Just a little more of a believer in that offense. A little more contact that I see, less of a strikeout. So I'm personally hoping that it's going to perform better against like that rotation. And like coming off like the high of like beating Georgia Tech like handily, I think it will carry over too.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I think it's going to be Josh. Should I give it War Eagle? I can't. I just can't.
I was
can't.
just about to say, give me a War Eagle, Drew. You took it out of my mouth.
I just can't. I will take Auburn, and I think that it is coming off of such a humongous win, like you said, Josh. The pressure. I think it could be negated by, hey, let's play at home in front of a crowd who's going to be hyped for the biggest series in the history of this program, arguably. Let's run it. And I'm going to go with the Tigers. Shout out my boy Bub Terrell since his name hadn't got mentioned yet. All right, moving on. Mr. Salguero, I'll have you walk us through this one. It is an ACC matchup of 2 very well-respected teams, especially when it comes to our poll. It's going to be NC State and Florida State. Can you give me the X factor for either team walking into this humongous showdown?
I think it would be hard to ignore kind of what like Florida State did this past weekend with the rotation, Beard and Mendes both going off. I mean, kind of expected from the two of them, but like against like an actual good offense for just unhittable. So I feel like that should be able to carry over, especially against like NC State, in which that offense very high average, but it's not too much slugging within like that group of guys. So being able to, I guess, make contact, but with the strikeout stuff with Beard and Mendes, I feel like it might be a little too much. So heavy on the Florida State pitching.
Not to be a stirrer of the feces here, but I am going to try to set up some Josh on Josh crime here. Josh, I know Mr. Salguero just kind of said that the NC State offense may not be able to stand up to this pitching staff, but I know you're a big fan of this NC State squad, and especially of one Mr. McHugh. Do you want to speak about what you think their offense needs to do to stand up against a pitching squad that I don't think any of us can say is anything less than jaw-dropping?
I think what they've done this year has beyond exceeded my expectations for that offense, for sure. I think kind of like I mentioned earlier the opposite of what I mentioned earlier with Auburn. I think it's the top guys performing and continue to perform is kind of what would be in NC State's best interest to really do well this series. Like Chris McHugh, Ty Heads had a good year. Sherman Johnson's looked really good this year. He's a 420 average, only striking out 8% of the time. Way better than we expected from him. I think that's probably the best way to stand up to the Florida State rotation, because if we're being honest, like it's going to be tough for these guys who have been struggling this year to get their get back and get on track against one of the best rotations in the country, top 3, top 5 rotation in the country, especially after what we saw them do last week against Wake Forest. So I think it's the stars, Chris McHugh, Ty Head, if they really step up and continue to do what they've been doing, it should give NC State a good leg up.
Well said. Jake, my format here just says, let Jake talk about Florida State pitchers. So the floor is yours, sir.
I kind of got the floor to do that in our last episode too. I mean, Mr. Salguero really covered him pretty well just in his part too. But I mean, I'll take any opportunity to talk about Trey Beard. I mean, he was just He was crazy last weekend. I mean, all three of their starters was, lights out against Wake Forest, which, I think we expected them to be good to that extent. I think consecutive games. I mean, I don't want to say shocked, but it was just really impressive to see what they were able to do against that team. And they're absolutely, looking like the staff that we thought they would be coming into the season. I had high expectations for them. I know Josh is a big Wes Mendez guy, him and JB both. Like, we had high expectations in there, and they are exceeding those expectations even more than what we thought they would.
I think so. All right, boys. Another tough one. We've got NC State and Florida State. Mr. Bargery, I think we'll start with you here. Who are you going to take?
I'm going to pick Florida State. I mean, they've looked like one of the best teams in the country, and like NC State's also looked really good, but they haven't been tested too terribly much this year so far. So I'm going to go with Florida State.
Very good. Mr. Salguero, curious, which direction are you going to go with one Florida State on the board? I have a feeling this might be two.
It's also going to be Florida State. I know I did dog on the NC State offense, but I think they'll hold their own. But I think more of like the focus will be like kind of how like the NC State pitchers hold up. I know Duden struggled like his last start against Boston College. Good offense in their own right, but still like a struggle. Marone's been solid. Andrews has been solid, but they're going to need to keep that up against like a more powerful like lineup. So still going to lean Florida State.
Yes, we definitely didn't talk about that, but I mean, the NC State pitchers who we expected, I think we expect them to be pretty good. Would you say, guys? I mean, leading into the season at least. Stumbly, maybe the weirdest. I don't know if that's a word. Stumbly against Boston College, and Florida State ain't no Boston College, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Josh, we're going to go to you first. Let's hear from JB, then let's get your pick.
JB, where is this? Oh, JB is also taking Florida State along with the rest of y'all. Look, the NC State rotation has been lights out. But I still trust Florida State's a little bit more. And not only is their rotation good, they have a lockdown relief arm in John Abraham they can use wherever they want to. He's pitched 13 innings this year with a .66 ERA, only 1 walk to 20 strikeouts. Whenever they're in a spot where they need their best relief arm, they can throw him out there, and I have all the confidence in the world. That could win them a game at this point, honestly. So I'm risking a sweep on the graphic here. I don't know what you're going to do, Drew, but I will take Florida State. I trust them just a little bit more.
Oh, Josh, I was hoping you'd stick with NC State because I think we're going to have to break the broom out. I'm going Florida State. I think almost kind of like we talked about with Texas and Auburn, I don't think a loss for either of these teams to the other is going to damage them. But so NC State's not going to be just, plummeting in my brain for losses to Florida State. I think they can take one of three. I feel very comfortable they can take one of three. But I think I trust Florida State more. I think that offense is going to be certainly NC State's pitching's toughest test for guys like Duden and Marone and their crop of pitchers. I feel a little bit better about. Let's move forward though. Mr. Bargery, we will let you lead this one off because it is going to be Georgia taking on Texas A&M. A couple of SEC schools that have had I've had questions about both, but I feel like the last couple of weeks I've had a lot more answers come in about them, and now the collision course has led them into one another. What's the X factor for either the Aggies or the Bulldogs this weekend?
Yeah, I'm always one that loves to talk about pitching on these shows, but I think for this matchup, all the eyes are going to be on the two offenses. I mean, like for Georgia, like it's homers. They hit a lot of home runs at Georgia. Ryan Black had a couple on the weekend. Daniel Jackson, Brandon Hudson, Kobe Branch all have double-digit homers. They're slugging at close to like 700 as a team. Like this team hits for power. I mean, they've hit for average as well. Like they put runs on the board and they have that power ability to put runs on the board quickly. And then for A&M, it's sort of the same, but they're more like well-rounded, I guess I can say. They don't just rely on the long ball a ton. Not that Georgia relies on it, but they don't hit it as high of a clip as they do. But like Caden Sorrell, obviously, really performing this year. 11 homers, 1,300 OPS. Gavin Grahovic's over 1,000 OPS, Boston Kellner, Bear Harrison, like the list just goes on. I think that these are two really, really high-powered offenses. I didn't mind Georgia's pitching staff this past weekend, but Texas A&M, we talked about it, I think, in the last episode. They struggled on the mound. So, I mean, this could come down to which staff or which rotation, kind of steps up. But I'm really looking forward to watching these two offenses go at it.
It is going to be two bulls in a sense, Jake. I like that you said it's offense versus offense. Mr. Salguero, going to go to you. Talking about this Texas A&M team and this Georgia team, I guess the main question for me is, do you think that any pitcher in this group of two teams is going to stand out enough to say, I can shut down this other offense? Who jumps to mind, if anybody?
I think it will come down to like the long relief guys. Like A&M has fresh corn. They have Gavin Lyons. So it's going to be those two guys that they're going to be leaning on. Like, say, some guy gets hit around. Weston Moss has kind of been struggling a bit lately. So, for example, say he lasts 2-3 innings. One of those guys is gonna have to come in, like go 3-4 shut down, just to like bring it into like the other guys to like kind of piece it together and keep them in the game. The same thing goes for the Georgia guys. With Kenny Ishikawa back, I believe Matt Scott got pushed back into the bullpen. So they're going to have Matt Scott kidding Aoki. Say some starter gets hit around a bunch, one of those two guys is going to be needed to come in, kind of piece it together till the end of the game, kind of hold it together. So those four guys are going to be like the most important, I believe, in this series, and being like the luxury of having like two of those guys on each of those teams. They could afford to like punt a game and then piggyback on like the other two in order to take the series. But those four guys are going to be key for me.
Those are four guys that I would even go on to say, Salguero, that I think they've all got a little bit of gas to them. They can go a couple innings.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm with you that I think that might be a really important thing that I'm not sure gets enough credit. Certainly, I'm glad that we're starting the patting on the back of the long relief crew here, Mr. Salguero. Good job, Mr. Catlett. I'm going to come to you here because there is a gentleman playing for Texas A&M that you are pretty partial to, if my memory serves correctly. Do you think that any one player playing for maybe Texas A&M could, I don't know, put the team on his back and really shut down probably the most? I mean, coming from a guy who loves a power merchant team that's kind of built a name on being a power merchant team recently, this power merchant Georgia team. I mean, is there any one player on A&M who you think could just put him on his back and say, let's do this?
I'm going to imagine you're trying to pry the name Chris Hakopian out of me.
What?
And I'll let you do it. After coming back from injury, they put him at second base because, if we're being honest, there's a couple freshmen that have really stood out on the left side of the infield they're not going to move on from. But Hakopian's look just as good as we imagined. He has a 500 average after coming back with a 1498 OPS, only striking out 9% of the time, which are similar numbers to what he had at Maryland. Well, the strikeout numbers, not the other ones. But he's carried it right over as we imagined he would. Hopefully he can keep it up over a longer stretch. You know, the SEC is way tougher competition, clearly. But if there's anyone that's going to put the team on his back, it's probably Hakopian. Sorrell probably has that potential too. But like I said, like those freshmen on the left side of the infield, Nico Partita at third base, Boston Kellner at shortstop. You know, Partita's batted .359 this year. He has 4 home runs. Boston Kellner's he has a 1063 OPS, 4 home runs, only striking out 13% of the time. Just elite stuff from young guys like that. So I think they have enough talent dispersed well throughout that lineup that they're going to be fine regardless on that front. But yeah, obviously, if there's anybody you want coming to the plate in a tough situation, it's Hakopian.
I think so. And similar question, is there anybody on this Georgia team that you think could do the same?
I mean, to this point in the year, it's been Daniel Jackson. I mean, you got to say him. He's batting .418 with 14 home runs to this point in the season. I mean, that's got to be the most consistent, reliable guy you've got on that team so far. Henry Allen's batting .400. Trey Phelps is near that mark. I mean, Brennan Hudson has, I think, like 10 or 11 home runs. I mean, they've got guys across the board that can, quote unquote, put the team on their back. But I guess Daniel Jackson would be my short answer.
I think so. All right, let's talk picks. Mr. Catlett, we'll go to you first, then we'll hear from JB as well. Georgia, A&M. Who are you taking, Josh?
I think I'm going to take the Bulldogs on the road. Even though they're coming off an emotional series win last week, that offense is just too good. And this A&M rotation has been struggling a little too much recently for my liking to really be able to trust them. Everything Salguero said was perfect about the long relief guys on both sides, for both teams. That's exactly what my answer would be for what's the X factor for both teams. I trust Georgia's a little more than I do A&M's at this point. Everything is just I get a slight edge to Georgia, and even though they are on the road, I trust their ability to take over.
Well said. Mr. Salguero, we'll go to you. Josh set you up pretty perfectly there with a tee. The ball's on the tee. Where are you taking it?
I'll differ. I'll go with A&M.
Ooh.
I'm more of a believer in their long relief guys compared to Georgia. I'm familiar with Caden Aoki from his USC days, so kind of get an understanding of what he brings. But
Sure.
also waiting for that Gavin Grohovic like power breakout for A&M. I'm hoping this is a series that it finally comes. But like that whole lineup, I mean, both lineups are great. But huge Caden Sorrell fan. Terrence Keel's amazing. Love Terrence Keel a lot. Also banking on that Grohovic and then having Hakopian back too. I think that lineup's just too good at well-rounded at everything. They're just going to take it.
Interesting. I like that. Jake, going to go to you. Georgia and A&M.
I think I'm going to go Georgia. I think I like the offense. I think the way I kind of can see this going with the way that A&M's kind of rotation has been recently. I mean, I could see a world where Georgia really jumps on them early in a couple of these games and gets out to a pretty big lead early, especially if they can get a good outing from Volchko and VQ. They've kind of both settled into their roles pretty good. Not like blown away, but they've both been good and better than what A&M's been getting out of their starting pitching. So I think I'm going to bank on that Georgia offense.
Jake, I'm glad to see that you and I both aren't holding grudges. I agree, though. I think it's Georgia. I think it is going to come down to how quick can Georgia come out of the gate offensively to jump on this A&M pitching squad who, like Salguero said, I think the bullpens are going to be what might stifle Georgia a bit, but I don't know. This is an offense that to kind of touch on what Josh said a minute ago, even on the road, Georgia's looked like kind of a different animal. A bulldog, as it were. Didn't intend that, but a different animal. I'm going to go Georgia, and so we'll split that one 3-2. Man, interesting graphic this far. All right, Josh, we're going to come to you. Wake Forest and Virginia. Looking at these two teams, both very impressive. I think Virginia's kind of the rest of the nation's kind of joining us on the let's ride Virginia train. I think we've kind of we've been on that since the beginning of the year. But Wake, an interesting challenge for them, certainly in the pitching department at least. It's going to test this Virginia squad. And Josh, I'm curious, what's the X factor for this series?
For both teams, I think it's the arms because both the lineups have not been flashy per se, besides I guess Gracia for Virginia and I guess Luke Costello for Wake Forest too. But I think there's a certain I think UVA has a little bit of a leg up on the pitching side. The rotation hasn't been stellar per se, but the top bullpen arms really have been. Lucas Hartman in particular, he's got a 1.40 ERA. He's pitched 25 innings for them this year. He's been stellar, and a bunch of other names have too. Wake Forest recently, I don't know what's going on with them. Duncan Marston had a good start to the year. His last two outings have been terrible. He's only gone 6 1/3 innings over 2 outings with an 18.47 ERA, allowed 13 hits, 4 walks. I don't really know what, I guess the uptick in play probably is a big part of it, for being honest. Blake Morningstar, no one knows what's going on with him. On the whole year, he has a 7.12 ERA. His FIP is even worse, is an 8.20 if you're into that kind of stuff. So I can't really put my finger on it because his stuff has gotten a little bit better. He just can't control it the right way. He's getting hit around a little bit, and it's kind of concerning. And I think that might linger just a little bit into the series, especially when facing a lineup like UVA's where, guys like AJ Gracia, Sam Harris have been really performing. They're probably going to get hit around a little bit if I had to guess.
I think you may be on to something there. All right, let's hear the picks. Josh, let's hear you. Let's hear JB on Wake in Virginia?
Yeah. Also on the last one, JB had A&M. I don't think we mentioned that. On this one, JB has UVA, and I'm going to join him for the same reasons I just mentioned.
Or rewind 30 seconds. Mr. Salguero, I'm going to go to you. Who are you picking, and give me one sentence as to why?
I'm going to be going with Wake. I believe their pitching staff has like a better chance of kind of bouncing back. I know like the last weekend and for a couple of them, like the last like few starts have been like kind of rough. But like looking at Virginia staff, it's nothing like too outstanding or nothing like short of dominant really. So I'm still like a believer in Morningstar. Marston, I don't know what's gonna make of him, but having like Morningstar, having Lavonis, I believe they're gonna come back and like take it probably 2-1. But yeah,
2-1. Man, Salguero's putting the final score on the board for us. Jake, who are you thinking? We have got a 2-1 split favoring UVA. What are you going to do here, Jake?
Yeah, before I make the pick, I'm glad he mentioned Lavonis. Every time we talk about Wake Forest, I just want to mention Chris Lavonis and what he's doing recently. I mean, 25 innings, 1.75 ERA. That's insane. I mean, could he be on his way to becoming, the Friday starter? I mean, he could be. I don't know. But I mean, that doesn't really set up my pick very well. I'm going to pick Virginia, but I did want to mention Lavonis though, because he's earned the recognition.
If we are going to mention Lavonis, I think it needs to be mentioned also. He's stricken out 52% of batters this year. 52. That's just a number that needs to be thrown out into the abyss. At that through 1 or 2 weeks, that's impressive. Whatever. Through 5-6 weeks of play, we're getting into the absurd range. So I'm glad you touched on Lavonis. I just want to throw that out there too.
Josh, can you hold up 5 fingers? Jake, can you hold up 2 fingers? It's that percentage. You at home.
For you visual learners out there.
Yeah, for you visual learners at home. Lavonis is going absolutely nuclear right now. I got to say, I like Morningstar as well. Salguero, that's a great point. I'm still a believer. Lavonis, as you said, kind of going nuts. It's hard to argue with what Marston has done. I'm not exactly sure what I think of him. I think it's going to come out in the wash this season, but neither here nor there. And to piggyback off Jake, say all those kind things to say, I think I'm taking UVA as well. Man, that offense is just good. We have not said Eric Becker's name. That's a first-round pick. That's a professional hitter. And I got to get it in there once per episode to keep the propaganda flowing. All right, Josh, we're going to go to you. Florida, Alabama, one more time. Walk us through, Josh, what you think the major sticking point for these two teams are. Alabama needs a win pretty bad, and I think Florida may be shaky enough to pull it out unless we see the Gators really chomp down and make a statement for a second straight week. What do you think?
Mean, this seems like super surface level analysis, but I really do think it's true. I think both teams have a star on offense, and the rest of the team has yet to really step up consistently around them. They have to do so. Brendan Lawson's looked phenomenal this year for Florida, and so has Justin LeBron for Alabama. I mean, Brendan Lawson's running a 1657 OPS this year with 10 home runs. He's walking 27% of the time. For Bama, Justin LeBron's at 1124 OPS with 9 home runs. He's swiped 20 bags to this point in the year. It's just the guys around them that haven't really, really put on a show that much. Brady Neal, Jason Torres have looked pretty good for Bama. They're taking walks at a pretty high clip. I just think it's more of how do those guys step up on a game-to-game basis, because we have no doubts about them. The pitching staff, at least the starters for Florida, I have no doubts about them either. Bama, a little more iffy, but I think it's just a matter of who – I mean, I've said it twice, 3 times at this point. Who steps up around the main stars? Because, Florida, especially against South Carolina last week, really, really struggling at the plate pretty consistently. So I think that's if there's going to be one main X factor, that's probably it.
I like it. Hey, well said, man. And it might be surface level analysis. Sometimes you don't have to scratch any deeper than that. I think that it's almost being deep for the sense of being deep. Whenever the number looking at you right in the face is just as effective. What's going to be the pick for you, Josh?
I can't pick Bama. It's going to be Florida for me. I mean, the analysis part of it is the 1-2 punch of Peterson King is ridiculous. Peterson's striking out 44% of batters at this point. Aiden King is not allowed to earn run, by the way, and it's March 18th as we're recording this. I think he's the only one in the country, if I remember correctly, with like
I think you're right.
more than 17, 18 innings pitched. It's ridiculous. I don't think Bama's going to be able to match up with that, especially the way Tyler Fay's been pitching on Fridays.
Jake, in an ultimate battle of let's hate ourselves for having to pick one of these two teams, I'm curious who you're going to pick between Florida and Alabama.
I'm also going to go Florida for pretty much the same exact reasons as Josh mentioned. I was gonna also make the point of Aiden King having not allowed an earned run yet to this point, which is just absurd. I'll say it again, I guess, but yeah, him and Liam Peterson give him as good a chance as anybody really right now to win 2 games, and I trust them a lot more than I trust really any pitcher on that Alabama staff. So give me Florida.
Well said. Mr. Salguero, going to you. 3 Floridas on the board. Are you going to save the graphic?
I don't think I can. Both Josh and Jake kind of stole the words right out of my mouth. Pretty much going to be about like the guys surrounding the stars in the lineup, and I think Florida's pitching is way too good. Like even Alabama, yesterday's matchup against South Alabama, they got shut out. Kind of how they handled that was just pitching around LeBron, and no one else around him could like step up. So more of the same thing. I think it's going to be Florida.
Well said. Well said. All right, and that brings us to me, and I guess I'll chomp begrudgingly. We're going to go Florida. Considering the guy that we're giving so much credence to being a quality offensive player in Justin LeBron, I don't know how he's going to stand up to Liam Peterson. I really, truly don't. And that's not even talking about King. That's not even talking about guys out of this bullpen that I think will give LeBron a really tough time. I agree. And I'm going to go with Florida. The clunk of the desk was absolutely correct. Mr. Salguero, going to give it to you here to walk us through what the X factor could be for Kentucky and Ole Miss.
I'll start with the Kentucky. I mean, kind of the big thing is Tyler Bell being back and kind of getting right back into the swing of things, kind of supplementing that offense, which has been pretty good to start the year too. Pitching slowed down a bit, but that offense is like too good. I think they'll be like good enough to like supplement it. And then going with Ole Miss, they bunch of heavy hitters in that lineup. So like going against Kentucky, kind of with their slowing down pitching, might be a little too much, but I think it's kind of an even matchup with like opposing strengths, opposing weakness. I think it'll be kind of like fun to watch.
It's definitely going to be fun to watch for sure. And I'm curious, who are you going to take there, Mr. Salguero?
That one's a little harder decision. I think I'll go with Kentucky. Love Tyler Bell. I think that's just like a shot of energy into that lineup as a whole. Like anytime like a team gets their star back, mood, morale is going to be up. And it's kind of been like how they've been. So I think that'll be enough to give Kentucky, at least for like another week or two. But
who was that player you said you loved?
Don't think I said his name quite yet. Tyler Bell.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to drop the propaganda.
He's such a good JB replacement. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's doing great. The Bell propaganda is really rolling right along. I love it.
It's the SoCal energy. That's what it
is. That's what it is. Jake, curious, what are you thinking here? Ole Miss or Kentucky?
You know, these two teams are close in my mind. I do like what Ole Miss is doing offensively. I think that's who I'm going to take. I think I'm going to take Ole Miss defending their home turf against Kentucky.
It's going to be a tight one. I think it's going to be interesting. Josh, who are you taking, and then who has Mr. JB selected?
I'm glad Jake saved the graphic there because JB took Kentucky, and so am I. I think the concerns with the Ole Miss rotation right now, just the questions, are a little too much for me because especially with the Cade Townsend injury, apparently the MRI came back and it's not as bad as they thought at first, but he'll probably still miss this week. Hunter Elliott's kind of had a concerning start to the year. I mean, he's running a 4.38 ERA, which isn't awful, but bad for his standards. He's walking 18% of guys. That's bad for anyone's standards. I think it's just a matter of I don't know how well he's going to be able to reel that in. He's one of the more trustworthy guys in the country, but it's been week over week at this point that I just kind of start to raise my eyebrows at a certain point. And I don't know what that Sunday role looks like who Ole Miss puts in there this week. I assume they're going to move Will Libbert up to the Saturday spot. Is Taylor Rabe that guy who they put in there? He's looked way better than usual, especially after last year, as poorly as he looked at times. It's been good to see him step up this year and perform a little bit better. I don't know who they're going to put in that Sunday spot. I'm not sure it matters because, Nate Harris has looked pretty solid on Sunday. I don't know who's going to be able to outperform him. We'll see. I'll take Kentucky.
I think I'm with you. You hit all of my major points, Josh. I do like Jake. I like the Ole Miss offense. Basetta has looked so good. Utermark has been solid again. I don't know. I think the Townsend injury may have tipped me the other way. Earlier this week when we talked about these games, I wanted to pick Ole Miss, but I just don't. I don't think I can today. So game time decision got me again. All right, going to talk about Oklahoma LSU, Jake. Going to jump to that one really quickly. Curious, what do you think the X factor for these two teams are? Both of them could certainly use a win.
Yeah, you are right about that. The thing I'm looking at here really is like, how does Oklahoma's pitching staff kind of bounce back? Like Cam Johnson's outing last Friday was kind of disastrous, as he kind of completely lost the zone there. But the rest of his season has been pretty impressive. So, we'll see if he's able to bounce back against this LSU lineup that, it looked better this past weekend. They scored runs against Vanderbilt, but, it's still not to the caliber that you want to see it if you just look at their overall numbers. Also, the LSU, the rotation – the three starters are just not giving the Tigers what they need, and the bullpen is also still a concern. Somebody's got to be able to stop the bleeding, and they haven't really found a guy that's been able to consistently do that yet. Both teams have concerns, so I guess I'll say the Oklahoma pitchers versus this LSU offense is kind of the thing that I'm paying attention to a little bit.
They haven't found somebody yet to stop the bleeding. Jake, what a beautiful way of saying that. Totally indicative of the LSU season in a nutshell. Beautiful way of saying that. Now, Jake, who are you going to pick of these two squads?
It feels so weird still having the thought of picking against LSU at home, but I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to go Oklahoma. I don't know. The pitching for LSU just concerns me a lot right now, and I just think I'm going to go Oklahoma.
Yeah, I understand. Mr. Salguero, Oklahoma from Jake, even on the road at Alex Box. I'm curious, are you going to make it two Oklahomas, or are we going to even it up?
I'm going to go with LSU. Before the season, loved Cameron Johnson stuff. I was a big believer in LJ Mercurius breakout. But even with their success to start the year, it hasn't been elite level teams they've been playing, and they finally faced kind of a respectable team, and they both kind of struggled. Cam Johnson reverting back to the command problems that plagued them beforehand, and LSU is kind of a patient team. Off my count, it was 5 guys in that lineup running walk percentages over 10%. So I think they have enough to just wait it out, and as Jake mentioned, bullpen still looking for that guy to help out and just keep them in. So I think LSU might make for a boring game with a bunch of walks, but I think LSU will take that battle offensively.
Might be. I don't think these two teams can put up a boring game. I hope not, at least.
Energy-wise, no. But
yeah, energy-wise, absolutely not. Alex Box will never be boring. Josh, going to go to you and JB. I'll let you speak for JB first before you give us your thoughts.
JB is going to ride with Salguero and take LSU. In terms of me, both these guys just stole every bit of analysis out of my mouth that I was going to say. This Oklahoma rotation is full of punch-out demons to this point. They're all running strikeout rates over 30%. But they've had walk issues in the past, and it kind of showed up again last week. LSU seems to have a really, across the board, if they do anything well on offense, they seem to take walks well, have pretty solid approaches, disciplined approaches. So if Oklahoma can't reel that back in, it could cause issues against, an underperforming LSU lineup. Trent Carraway, Stephen Milam, Derek Curiel, all haven't really looked great this year compared to what we thought. None of them have an OPS over 900. Curry was the only one over 800. I think I cannot bring myself to take LSU until they show me something over the past couple weeks. I'm going to take Oklahoma. It like you said, it really hurts me to pick against LSU with Alex Bach, but they've showed me nothing. Like over the past 2-3 weeks, it's just been dead lifeless. Besides Sunday against Vandy last week, I just can't bring myself to do it until I see it first.
I'm really stuck here, guys, because this whole I was going to take LSU. I said this is it. Sunday, like you said, in Nashville was the turning point. This is where they turn it on. But do I really believe that? Do I think what do I think the difference is between Vanderbilt Sunday pitching and Oklahoma Friday and Saturday pitching? I think it is a big difference. I think we've seen, as Salguero mentioned just a moment ago, I think he and I might have been the only two people in the world on the LJ Mercurius breakout train prior to the season, but I'm glad we were there. Cam Johnson's been incredible. I don't know. But again, it's Alex Box. This is LSU. Are they going to let Oklahoma come in and beat them? And I mean, I'm genuinely stuck here, guys. I'm genuinely stuck. I'm gonna take LSU. I'm gonna take LSU begrudgingly though. This is a tough one. That's gonna be that and the one that we're about to get into. I've saved my favorite for last. Let's talk Big 12 baseball on the show. Okay, all right, guys. I think this might not surprise Jake or Josh to know, but Mr. Salguero, I will tell you. I think my two favorite teams to watch this year have been Kansas State and Arizona State. Two incredible teams, and I know one of them, Kansas State, has certainly had a buoy of a lifetime this season in shortstop D. Kennedy. He has turned the corner, is actually done a lot of what I think the major knock on him is he's a bit aggressive, gets to be a bit of a free swinger, and yet this year we've seen a little bit of refinement out of this kid to the point where I think on Twitter earlier this past week I even said I could stand for him to swing a little more even. But at the top of the Big 12 charts, at least top 5 for sure, without having looked at that list today, in both home runs and stolen bases, he's a dynamite catalyst for this team. And then when you're talking about catalysts, you got to talk about for Arizona State, Dean Toigo, who has been absolutely nuclear lately. I think the other day hit his 9th. I believe it's his 9th home run. Could have been his 10th, but I'm going to say 9th on the show. So check me at home. And let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But Toigo's been absolutely in fuego. This team has not lost a step since losing 9. Thank you, Josh. Has not lost a step since losing New Contrades. And it's been guys step up, whether it's my old friend Dominic Longo, whether it's guys like Landon Hairston, who has, I think, reached a new level of his astronomical power. It's going to be, for my money, offense versus offense, and that might be putting a little bit too much of shade towards Mr. A pitcher that I know Josh really loves, Mr. Carlin. But I don't know. I don't really think that any one pitcher in this series can overcome the offenses that's going to be facing it. And so I am going to wait. I need you guys to sway me on which to pick of my two favorite squads. And Josh, we're going to go to you first. Arizona State, Kansas State.
I mean, I can sway you on a pitcher, Cole Carlone. I mean, like he's far and away the best pitcher in the series. He might be the best pitcher in the Big 12. I think if anyone can, I'll put it to you this way: Jake Marciano, the Friday guy for Auburn, he held Kansas State to 1 run the entire game, and we see what he's done for the entire year. Carlone's put up similar numbers. He has a better future than Marciano, in my opinion, and most people's opinion. If anyone can shut it down, I think that Carlone probably can. Also, like, I'm taking my time to mention this because I just saw this. I thought about this earlier. Before the season, if you would have asked someone what do you think is the best outfield unit in the entire country? I would have said either A&M, LSU, Florida, sneaky Oklahoma State. Arizona State wouldn't have crossed my mind. It might be Arizona State.
Excellent.
It might be Arizona State. I mean, all of them have OPSs over 1,000. Landon Harrison has 8 home runs. Toigo has 9. Dom Longo has 6. I mean, it's consistent offensive production. Those have been their best guys besides Contradas, who's injured right now. I just want to throw that out there. I feel like I haven't heard anyone mention that. There's a real argument for them to have the best outfield unit in the entire country.
You guys at home reading the Daily Sheet every day know that your friend DW is talking about this Arizona State offense. Don't do it enough on the pod, though, Josh. That is absolutely right, and that's on me. So thank you for calling it out. Josh, who are you going to be taking? I'm assuming it's going to be ASU.
It is going to be. I mean, I've been high on them for a while. Just talked about the offense. Just talked about how I think Carlones can single-handedly win them a Friday game. I mean, their other starters like Overbay and Clicker have looked really good too. Sub-3 ERAs. I think they'll be able to hold it down for a weekend.
Clicker was excellent last weekend. I'm curious if he can roll it over. What about JB? Who's JB taking?
I think he took Kansas State. Hold on. Yes, he did take Kansas State.
Very good. Mr. Salguero, what are you thinking here? It's Big 12 season. Who are you going to go with?
This one's probably the hardest one yet. Both offenses have been like amazing top to bottom. I think it's going to come down to like pitching depth, just like having enough guys to last. I'm also big on Carlone, as Josh said, so I think he could win them a game. But like kind of in that opposition, I think Kansas State with Tanner Duke kind of like holding down a potent like Houston lineup like last weekend.
Yeah.
I think he could balance it out on Saturday, so it'll probably just come down to like that Sunday. Again, with the pitching depth, I believe Arizona State has a little more on that kind of like facet, so I'll lean towards them.
All right, very good. Jake, we've got a Kansas State, 2 Arizona States. Which state are you riding with, Coach? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with the majority and go Arizona State. I mean, both offenses are going pretty nuts right now, as you all just covered very well. I like the 2 Coles in that ASU rotation right now, giving them a better chance to win both of their games. So I'm going to go with Arizona State.
You know what you get when you have a couple of Coles together, right, Jake?
What's that?
You get a fire, especially in the sun. Devils. We're going ASU. I'll take ASU as well. That's wordplay, Josh. What are you shaking your head? That's wordplay.
I knew something super corny was about to come out, but I totally could have seen that one coming. I thought you would get like a Santa joke, like Cole for Christmas kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I
went the wrong direction. That was
it's all right.
Shame on me.
That's all right. No, that's okay. I definitely. I mean, if we were rocking kind of second half of the year, Santa and Cole would have certainly been. Yeah, that's where we're going. I was going more charcoal. Anyway, that's going to be the show. That's going to be the show for this week. It's been a good one, and we've had a good time. I don't want to speak for our guest, but it was certainly a pleasure for us to have you joining us, Mr. Salguero. You've been incredible. We'll have to have you come back. Thank you again so much for joining us.
Appreciate having me on, too. Thank you.
Absolutely. And as is tradition, we want to remind you all of a couple of things at home. First of all, if you're not a subscribing member at prospectslive.com, please consider doing so. Membership starts as low as $7 a month. You can get the written work of all of these guys, Mr. Catlett, Mr. Bargery, Mr. Salguero, as well as stuff from me and all of our other wonderful staffers there. Tools, tricks, tips, lists, rankings, all kinds of incredible stuff. And the list just grows every single day at prospectslive.com. Membership is as low as $7 a month. Leave a comment down below. Let us know who you're taking in this weekend's matchups. Also, want to give another shout out to JB. JB, hope you're having fun on your trip. We miss you, pal. You've been filled in for very well, though. Mr. Salguero did an outstanding job. And Quinn on Sunday night did an outstanding job as well. Before we go, though, Mr. Salguero, why don't you tell the people at home where they can find you between your episode appearances on College Baseball Now and what you're working on right now?
Oh, yeah. You can find me on Twitter /X at jsal307. Going to be a bunch of like live looks coming up, and with like probably next 2 weeks. And then Twitter, I usually focus on like prep guys that kind of stand out to me, mainly SoCal area, but
yeah,
very big on the draft right now.
Aren't we all, man? It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. I'm heating up with it, man. Coach, tell the people where they can find you in between our adventures on College Baseball Now and what you are working
on. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Barge. Thing that I'm working on right now, it's the mid-major top 30. Those are getting harder and harder to put together each week as we go on. It seems like it's a pretty impossible task right now, but it's been a lot of fun getting to cover all these different teams and kind of study and see how they're doing week in and week out. Only other thing I'm working on, I'm probably going to have maybe a live look come out that's like a combination of like the different games that I've been to, because I haven't been able to get out to too many full series, but like I've been to a few games here and there covering some teams up here in the Northeast. So I'm probably going to put something together like that. So on the written side, that's all I got.
That's going to be great. Can't wait. Always good for you to get back at the park when you're not coaching, at least. Mr. Doubleheader Victory. Let's shout out them Knights one more time, man. Arcadia doing it big. And Jake, it's the coaching. I know you're too modest. You won't say it, but it's the coaching leading this team to the victories today.
You could say that if you want.
I will. Thank you. I will. Mr. Catlett, where can they find you on social media, and what are you working on right now?
You can find me on Twitter at JoshCatlett3. I'm having the same dilemma as Jake right now with the website, because over the next couple of weeks, I will have been to 3 games, but I will have seen Auburn twice, Georgia Tech twice, and then NC State and Texas once each. And so I'm trying to figure out how to do like a combo live looks thing, try and figure that out, but we'll see. Twitter, I'm putting out different content each day, various things, my rankings every week, bracketologies here and there. I put up that bracket thing earlier today.
Loved that. Loved that.
I don't know how no one else I had not seen anyone else do that. I really don't know how I had not seen anyone else, but like the idea just came to mind. It was super easy. The only issues I had were like Florida, Clemson I had to think about. Well, Iowa State, Tennessee State was an issue because neither of them have baseball programs. I'm trying to think I think Georgia, Virginia I had to think about for a little bit. And there was something else that I'm blanking on, but it was pretty easy, honestly. It was just, I don't know, it was fun to look at.
Without a doubt. Check that out for sure. Definitely check out the College Daily Sheet if you are not. I know Mr. Salguero and I are regulars on there. If I'm not mistaken, Joshua, I think you and I are the ones who have carried the most issues of that thus far. So thank you for your hard work. Want to shout out all the other College Sheet boys. They're doing amazing stuff. Thank you all. Again, if you want to follow me for whatever reason on social medias, you may do so at DrewIsOK on the Twitter machine, on Blue Sky, on Instagram, on everything. Check out the website. We have got some ranks coming out soon. More for the 2026 MLB draft is coming out soon. Definitely check out this weekend's episode of College Baseball Now, because we're going to be talking about the games we've just picked, how they've ended up, as well as all the other news around the country. So thank you so much for joining us. Want to remind you all, please be nice to yourself. Be nice to each other. We will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Toodaloo and bye-bye.